from foxsports.com. Lee Spencer. Hi, Lee. Welcome back to the show. It's been a while. We are doing terrific, and hopefully we got a connection here that's going to work for us. We'll see how it goes. Saw that you wrote this week about friendly rivalries, I guess is the best way to put that. I had a theory a long time ago that drivers weren't nearly as good after they got married, had kids, or were on their lid. These two guys kind of go against that because they've got married, they got kids, they've been on their lid, and yet they're still damn good.
Well, I mean, I would agree with that, but I just think that it's as far as the rivalries go, that element has changed. Jeff Burton said a long time ago he can understand how all the Hendrick kids could all play so nice together. Jeff and Jimmy, and when Brian Vickers was there, and they'd all go out and hang out together, and then they'd expect to be cutthroat come Sunday. And he said, I just don't understand how that happens. I don't know how you can be buddies with the guy and then expect to go, toe to toe with him and door to door on Sunday. And you don't see that in Formula One. You don't see that in other forms of racing. So, I think that it's kind of curious that the same, the so much of that has changed on the NASCAR side of the circuit.
When you look at these two guys, we had Darrell Waltrip on the show about 4 or 5 weeks ago, and he said these two guys are the ones that I picked at the beginning of the year to be there at the end. Did you get a feeling at the beginning of the year that, of course, you can't? It's pretty tough to not have Jimmy Johnson in the mix, but did you see Matt Kenseth being there as well?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's like you said, you never count Jimmy Johnson out. I mean, as long as Jimmy Johnson's breathing, you expect him to do well.
Yeah.
On the other side of that, Matt Kenseth just seemed so at peace with his decision, and everything just seemed to click for him over at Joe Gibbs Racing. And from, early tests and things of that nature, they just seemed really to hit it off. And then once they got to Daytona, they were solid. He won at Vegas, and it just seemed to steamroll from there. And it was like I just you just had a really good feeling before the season even started that Matt Kenseth was going to factor into it. And he is the one guy that he's been under the radar for so long. I don't think he was marketed properly for Roush Fenway Racing, and not that there's been a big push on him. What's pushed him more and come to the forefront isn't the fact that people know how to market him well. His driving speaks for itself. And, they do have a, friendly rivalry between them because they respect each other. But on the other side, if you look at the replays from Martinsville, they went toe-to-toe. I don't think, if one had right the other, that might have changed things. But, Matt's just always been Matt. Matt's somebody you can never count out, and it's just been really fun seeing him kind of get a second chance with his new race team.
We're talking to Lee Spencer from Fox Sports. Lee, Matt went over to Gibbs Racing and replaced Joey Logano, and Joey had not had the success, I don't think, that was hoped for when he was signed originally there. There was some talk about maybe there was some friction between the three drivers. Has there been any negative at all to Matt's melding into the Gibbs group? I mean, Denny Hamlin's not had a successful year, but it's mostly due to injury. And anything negative there, or will those three drivers be able, if they're all healthy, to all be good next year, I guess?
Well, I think, you look at that and you put them all on a sheet of paper and no, Denny hasn't been Denny this year. Will Denny be Denny next year? The kind of hits that he's taken this year, not playing at 100%. You just hope that given the time off, whether or not he decides to do back surgery or not, there's so many factors just hanging in the air for Denny that he really needs to make some decisions and get his act together. That being said, the only question that I would have going into this, because it was easy to kind of beat Joey Logano around because he was never at the caliber of Kyle and Denny, was who's going to be the alpha driver next year. Denny never really wanted the responsibility of being the team leader. it was kind of thrown on him when Tony left and Joey came in, and Kyle just, likes to do his thing, which is race anything that he's given to race. So I think when you look at the three drivers, it's going to be, will there be a rivalry amongst them, because you have three drivers that can make the chase any given year. And, like I said, if Denny does come back 100%, then you're just going to wonder, can all three cars make the chase, or is somebody going to be the odd man out? And then if there's the odd man out, is that going to cause friction in the ranks?
How do you think, speaking of friction in the ranks, how do you think the new four-car team at Stewart House Racing is going to get along?
Well, if Tony Stewart is ready to go by the time Speed Weeks rolls around, it's going to be interesting to see what the dynamic is. Right now, even though Kurt got, a big boost when all the news came out, and, this all started in August and just kept steamrolling, Kurt Busch at this time, and it's November, mind you, does not know who his crew chief is, does not know who his crew chief is, does not know what the complexion of his team is going to look like. They haven't been able to agree on, who that person's going to be. And, even though there's going to be two new crew chiefs over at Stewart House Racing next year, that third crew chief has not been determined yet. And I can tell you, knowing Kurt, it's caused him, a bit of consternation. He just really, with that uncertainty, I mean, he had everything going for him. Yes, it was a small team and, based in Denver, but heck, they gave him all the resources he needed to win the championship, and now he's going into a complete unknown. I mean, it all looked good on paper, saying, hey, I'm going to go drive for Stewart House Racing, and they win races and they make chases, and, everything, looks great. But now you have, that uncertainty where he just really knew what he had. It's almost one of these grass is greener deals. Kevin Harvick's in a similar boat, although he got to pick who his crew chief is. He's in a situation where the crew chief only in the last couple of weeks has been able to go out and recruit his race team. So, you have that part of it is up in the air as well. And everything hinges on whether or not Tony Stewart comes back. And all along they said he's going to be back in time for Speed Weeks. If he is, I just hope it's 100%, because if it's not, then everything, it's just going to be more uncertainty and kind of craziness. And so rather than concentrating on getting all the four teams together and moving forward, there's still going to be that question mark as to, is the leader of the pack going to be ready to race in 3 months?
We're talking with Lee Spencer. And Lee, I almost got the feeling that Kurt, in a way, almost got bullied into making this decision and going to Stewart Haas. That's part A. And the part B is I had to wonder if Tony hadn't got hurt, if all these pieces of this puzzle would have kind of, found their way in the way that they did, because he gets hurt and all of a sudden, Kurt's coming over and, Tony's going to be at the press conference. And the whole thing was such a goofy way of doing things. I wonder how much of it, I guess, what was available to be goofy because he was laid up at the time.
Well, I mean, I think you're absolutely right, but you have to put this on Tony's shoulders in the first place, because, whether or not Gene Haas, who's his partner, is going to admit this or not, when Tony went AWOL, and by that I mean when he made the conscious decision to be out running short tracks every single night instead of concentrating full-time on the business at hand and letting his people, run the business for him, it enabled Gene to say, hey, I don't like the way things are being done over here. I don't like the way that they're being managed, and I'm going to step up and manage things if you're going to go out and race 365 days a year. And, then that's when he made, and this was his second run at Kurt. He made a run at Kurt the year before. I don't think that there was anything goofy there as much as Gene wanting to exert his muscle since he's paying the bills over there. to say Kurt Busch is my driver and kind of go from there. Now, you're going to, you have chiefs coming in. You have 3 new crew chiefs. If they don't, if Borland keeps insisting he doesn't want to be coach. So, I mean, that's a lot of upheaval for one organization to take. It's been kind of crazy watching that whole dynamic because the relationship that they have with Hendrick Motorsports, and it's it's going to be fun. You're going to need a scorecard come February to try to figure out where all the crew chiefs are. Drivers, Kurt didn't want the 41 car. That on him. I think there's been a lot of things that happened in the short 3 months that Kurt accepted that. Gone his way, and Kurt doesn't like to be backed into a wall.
Lee, thanks so much. We truly appreciate you spending time with us as usual. We'll talk to you again, and we feel bad for you as far as the Cardinals go because us Tiger fans didn't quite make it as far as you did, but hey, good job.
Hey, we're number 2.
We're somewhere 3 or 4. We didn't get into that 3 or 4 playoff game.
Maybe next year.
Hey, guys, you take care. Thanks for calling.
Absolutely.
Lee, thanks a lot.
Lee Spencer.
Lee Spencer, one of our